With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in 1 convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Hey there, we're Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy, your book besties who take the novels you love seriously. This is Jack.
And I'm Amy, and we embrace and respect modern fantasy, romance, and romantasy books written by women. And so it's in our nature to analyze these books as we would any other novel we might have dissected in school.
With our combined 13 years of literary academic training, we use our education to analyze and give voice to reasons why you may love or hate today's popular books.
This is part 2 of this week's episode, where we're discussing chapters 39 through 43 of Sarah J. Maas's second Throne of Glass novel, Crown of Midnight.
Before we dive in, don't forget about Spilt. Spoilers, perspective and interpretation, language, themes.
If you would like more information, please go back and listen to the start of part 1 of this week's episode.
Chapter 41 starts, and we're now with Chaol and Dorian, and we are in Chaol's point of view. And he thinks about his research that he's been doing on Celaena, because, you break up with someone and then you immediately start researching them. So that's how it works. Quote, when he had finished writing down the names, he was no closer figuring out who she really was than he'd been at the start. So this is him writing the names of all the noble families in Terrasen. And I love a hyperfixation. In my world, not in this world, but he's essentially very much hyperfixating on her. The woman that he loves is gone, and she has truly become an opponent, an object, like a mystery, something he needs to solve. When it's almost like because Celaena solved Nehemia's murder, quote unquote, solved Nehemia's murder, he has nothing else to really do or solve. So it then has to become Celaena.
Yeah. I think that's a great point.
And he works for the patriarchy, so fuck him.
It's also significant because we didn't talk about it, but the way the last scene in chapter 40 ends is Baba Yellowlegs asking, quote, what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? And we can say that same dynamic is happening with Chaol and Celaena. Celaena is currently being hunted by a witch, but also by the man that is supposed to love her, right? She's normally the one doing the hunting. Now he is hunting her. And I don't think it's insignificant that Chaol is being tied to Baba Yellowlegs right now because of the conversation that's about to happen between him and Dorian. I don't think we're supposed to hate Chaol necessarily, but I do think we're supposed to see that he's lost his way, that his loyalty has been misplaced and has led him to this place that isn't that great. And he's going to come to realize it himself, but he needs to be pushed.
Yeah.
And when he does realize it, the emotions are intense.
And he's also just so not aware of of his own emotions in general. He doesn't understand what he's feeling because, initially he's happy that Celaena is going to Dorian. He at first, even last episode, he was just thinking oh, I don't, at least she's laughing. I mean,
yeah.
Granted, it's with him, but, I'm happy. I bet
Bad.
she has someone.
Yeah.
But then we have this moment and he has these thoughts, quote, he'd heard that they had dinner and that she hadn't left his rooms until the middle of the night. Had it been a deliberate move on her part, something to throw in his face, make him ache just a bit more? Of course, Chaol would think that the illusion of sex,
Mm-hmm.
or sex itself, or the illusion of sex would be a weapon to use against him. It's almost like if there was anything Chaol would fear is that Celaena, who lost her virginity to him, had sex with him for the first time. But let's just, for these antiquated terms and antiquated thought processes, I'm going to use that term. But Celaena, who lost her virginity to him, that is like a thing that he owns essentially. And that was always something that he was kind of nervous about Dorian having sex with her. Like if you think about book 1, it was always like, he doesn't even know that she's a virgin. Right. And that's his, right? Like Celaena was his. Chaol had sex with Celaena, and that's not something that Dorian got to have. I don't think he had sex with Celaena and was like, haha, screw you, Dorian. But
Yeah.
I think that this is definitely a sore subject with him.
Yeah. So I'm trying to rethink the lost the virginity. So why don't we say Celaena gave Chaol her virginity?
No, I'm keeping the loss of the virginity for the sake of his. If Chaol is thinking these old-fashioned terms, I'm going to say old-fashioned terms.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Either way, he has claimed it, right? And he doesn't want to share sex with Celaena, with his best friend, right?
Understandable. Both are hot. I don't understand it, actually. Like, no one wants their friend sleeping with the girl that they were hooking up, like that he was in love with, right?
Right.
It just, he's only thinking about himself right now. Like, he's not even thinking about, hey, maybe she's super sad and just doesn't leave Dorian's room because she can't be in her own room because that's where she spent time with Nehemia.
Right. Well,
God forbid we use logic.
Yeah, I know. And here's the thing that he never realized, too, that I think is influencing Celaena. Celaena didn't want to be in her room because she wanted to avoid Elena.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she can't avoid Elena by being in Chaol's room or Nehemia's room. So Dorian it is.
Chaol, though, is trying to do the honorable thing. Sort of. Quote, how could he convince Dorian to stay away from her? Not because he was jealous, but because Celaena might be more of a threat than Dorian could even imagine. Only the truth would work, but so at this point he's like, so Celaena's, she seems dangerous. She seems like there's a lot of secrets, and until we know what secrets, then we should keep her away from him. But also, I don't want her to be in danger. I don't want him to be in danger. But also, you're jealous. It's okay. You are jealous. So it's like, even though he's partially true, it's also a way of masking jealousy. It is funny because that's some things that I would do where it's like, I'm going to use logic and facts to justify my now jealous and absolutely bonkers acts I'm about to do, because all these other things are in fact true.
Reasonable.
Thank you. You've been a part of some of this bullshit too.
Now, is there an element of power dynamics going on here? I don't know. I would argue Chaol is feeling out of control right now. Like Jack said earlier, he doesn't have a murder to solve. Celaena already solved it. And he can't tell his best friend what to do, and he can't tell his ex-lover what to do. So what is he going to do? He's just going to try to drive them apart, which unfortunately, you could argue his actions lead to air of fire, which leads to even bigger consequences that are really bad for everybody.
Yeah.
So
Also,
fuck you, Chaol.
Fuck you, Chaol. When I said you're a part of the bullshit, I meant you're a part of my bullshit.
No, I understood.
Okay, good. I am going to read a pretty long quote, and I'm going to split it into 2 parts. Just know that this is actually one streamlined conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Dorian says, quote, "You think I'm blind?" Dorian asked, his gaze a frozen ice blue. "Do you know why I approached her at the Yulmus ball? Not because I wanted to ask her to dance, but because I saw the way you two were looking at each other. Even then, I knew how you felt." We all know that Dorian didn't do this so that they could get together.
Mm-hmm.
We know that from the last book. We know that because his feelings were hurt when Celaena chose Chaol. This is not him being like, "I wanted to make you jealous so that you could act and be there for her." That's not what this is. So
Yeah.
let's not pretend that he's ever had a single bone in his body that wanted the two of those
No.
two to work out.
Basically, everything we said last season is accurate.
Yeah.
He was jealous.
Yeah.
He's acting out of jealousy. That's it.
And it's not a desire for Celaena. Like, we talked about this before, saying that he didn't really love Celaena till she broke up with him and said, "Not going to be with you." I think he does care for her. I don't think he's ever truly loved her, but as close as he might have loved, that didn't happen until the break.
Yeah.
At that point, during Yulmus, Dorian didn't see Celaena as a person, but rather an object for the two of them to fight over, grapple over, an object that Dorian gets to take away from Chaol.
Mm-hmm.
Again, back to he never really truly cared for Celaena. Now, Chaol, and funny enough, is the one who's treating Celaena like the object. You know, people love to pull up in the future quotes where Dorian says to Chaol, "You can't love only one part of her."
Mm-hmm.
And people love pulling that up where I'm just like, all right, first off, future books. All right. That's not what we're talking about in this book. Second, it's easy to feel altruistic when you were a shit even getting there. You know what I mean? Like he didn't even want Celaena for right reasons.
Yeah. But he has grown.
He has grown. No, absolutely. But this is where you can grow in good ways and you can grow in bad ways. And Dorian has also significantly grown, maybe not significantly, but has visibly grown in bad ways. Because the quote continues with Chaol's response, quote, "You knew and yet you asked her to dance?" His hands clenched into fists. "She's capable of making up her own mind. And she did." Dorian gave him a bitter smile. "About the both of us." We talked about them not actually being true friends and that these are more of like friends of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that their friendship is an arc within itself. And we are in that beginning of that turbulent time. Eventually, they will become true besties, but not yet.
Not yet. Definitely not. And I'm glad we get to see the deconstruction of the friends out of circumstances, because I do actually think a lot of people experience that in their lives.
Yeah.
That they're the only person here, so we're friends. But you know what? Honestly, it serves them both right for treating Celaena like a toy.
Genuinely and truly, may all of them be fucked.
Yeah. They will be.
You're right. That's on me. Everyone's going to be screwed. Oopsies. While Chaol might be confused about Celaena, he still has some feelings for her against his own biases with the patriarchy and the king. Quote, "He knew he had to get her out of this castle, yet he couldn't tell if it was for Aderlin's sake or her own." She's a disruption in his thought pattern. She is a disruption in what he knows to be true. Like we talked last episode, thanks to our wonderful listener, we have Chaol who is used to working and serving the patriarchy. He is used to doing things for the patriarchy, and his default is, what can I do for Aderlin? What can I do there? But at the same time, he's like, brain does not compute. I must help the woman I love. What?
These two things do not compute.
Process error. Chaol pushes Dorian about doing something because he's just like, hey, maybe your dad can do something. Like maybe you can work on freeing her. And while Dorian agrees that Celaena deserves to be free, he also tells Chaol that he needs to calm down and to be careful about what he says. Quote, The Crown Prince of Adarlan stared him down. And consider where your true loyalties lie. Once Chaol might have argued. Once he might have protested that his loyalty to the crown was his greatest asset. But that blind loyalty and obedience had started this descent, and it had destroyed everything. I am very confused about Dorian saying this. Consider where your true loyalties lie. I wonder if that was even supposed to be Dorian's line. I wonder if that was supposed to come from someone else, or if it's just a concept that SJM needed to be said so that Chaol has these conflicting feelings, but it just does not feel, because it doesn't feel like a Dorian thing to do, because, or maybe it does, I can't tell, but it's very much a princely thing of bringing Chaol to heel, of this is the crown, where is your loyalty? But Dorian's also agreeing that Celaena needs to leave.
I read this completely differently, and I'm going to back up and read just a sentence, I think, before your quote. So Dorian says to Chaol about helping free Celaena, quote, I agree with you. I truly do. It's not right to keep her here, but you should still mind what you say. Crown Prince of Adarlan stared him down. And consider where your true loyalties lie. And this is because Dorian is saying, my dad is temperamental. I don't know what he'll do if I ask. Honestly, he might just kill Celaena if I ask him to free her. And what I think is happening is we're seeing Dorian step into his princeliness. We've seen him, defy the king in council meetings and argue for things that are unpopular and try to convince other councilmen to side with him. And so the use of the Crown Prince of Adarlan instead of the name Dorian is significant, because I think he's finally kind of stepping up to the plate, just like he was challenged to do at the beginning. And to me, it wasn't really about telling Chaol, don't forget you served the crown. It was more like, pick a side. You're either on Team Dorian Celaena or you're on Team King of Adarlan. That's how I read it.
I could understand that if there was ever a Team Dorian Celaena. Not like, I'm not saying that there isn't a Team Dorian Celaena. Like, I know the concept in general, but it feels like there was never a true, here's the other side you can represent. Like, it was always a concept of, well, we should help Celaena. I mean, even at the beginning of in the first book, it turned into, does this feel right? Should she be here? What happens if she leaves? Like, it was always been this like theory of Celaena of what happens to her, but it was never a concrete thing of like, there's loyalty to be had there. It does feel like Dorian's like because Dorian can't do anything to his dad because his dad is volatile and could kill anyone, just by the fact that he asks him not to. To me, it does feel like Dorian lashing out at Chaol of being able to throw at least some things around to him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Dorian has a lot of pent-up anger towards Chaol, right? And so he's acting on that. I guess I made an assumption that maybe the way Celaena feels about Dorian and needing to protect him, Dorian also established the night before, of just like, wow, she's really alone. And I feel really bad about that. Just because she kicked Chaol out of her life and I'm happy about it doesn't mean I'm also against. I don't know. For me, it was more like, we're on this side. Be careful about what you say. Don't get her in trouble. Figure your shit out, dude. That's kind of how I took it.
If that's what SJM wanted us to go for, then she would need to take out the I knew you liked her and I danced with her. He would need to take out the I'm happy that she carved Chaol out. Like, there's just a lot of things leading up to that moment that makes it more bitter. And that's why I interpret it as being bitter. If her intention was to kind of be what you're saying, which I could see that, where if she was like, if Dorian's message is like, hey, we're in this together, she's our girl, we're going to try to get her out. Sure, then don't give me a buildup of Dorian constantly resenting Chaol.
Yeah, I guess one more thing and then I'll drop it. But the fact that Dorian's like, look, I tried to take her from you. Didn't work. But you know what? She chose neither of us. So I guess we're both at rock bottom together.
I do not take it as that. I mean, yeah, I guess like, yeah, I still don't see that as like a,
Okay, that's fair.
no, but it's just like, it's like, I see what you're saying, but I don't see that as being like a, hey, we both suck. Like she hates us both or anything like that. That's funny.
They do ultimately, they have a friend breakup. So it makes sense.
I mean, I don't think that if there's a right or a wrong, then SJM needed to clarify that more.
Yeah, no, totally get it.
Like if what you're saying is her goal, then I needed Dorian at one point while Celaena was sleeping to say like, I'm going to take care of you. Then I would need that.
Yeah,
If
makes sense.
this was truly if this was kind of where I'm leaning, where there's more bitterness involved, then I, throw in a little extra punch in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's like a right or wrong. / there might be a right or wrong, but it's not our fault.
It's obscure. Yeah.
I love that we go from like Celaena's like fighting and then she gets knocked out and then it's like the boys fighting over her.
Yeah.
And then we come back, like flashback to Celaena and here she is fighting for her life. And I love this scene. I've seen a bunch of really cool art of Celaena with these mirrors and then axe, and she's cutting them down. Quote, Celaena swung the axe at the nearest one, then the next one, and the next one. And again, it's just really beautiful imagery of Celaena crushing down all these mirrors, which are different versions of herself. Again, the assassin, the queen, these are all the ones that were looking back at her. And then you also get the imagery of like what happens when you break a bunch of mirrors, you turn it into a mirror ball and you listen to Taylor Swift's song Mirror Ball and you cry and now you have a moment. Maybe not her path, but basically she is shattering all of these pieces of herself in order to put them all back together, meshing them all together to create something more beautiful.
I love that. That is a very beautiful image, very Taylor Swift.
Thank you.
Inspired. I also feel like it's symbolic for she's accepted that. So I wrote this before, obviously, our conversation on the podcast. So when I was thinking of the mirrors as the different alternate paths she could have taken, I viewed it as her cutting down all those paths and finally making a decision. Like, this is the path I'm taking.
Yeah.
Because
imagery 2 different ways. Looks good.
Yeah.
We are now in chapter 42, and Celaena has successfully killed Baba Yellowlegs. So she goes down to the tomb to celebrate now, just to get more information. And she shows Mort the necklace of her marks, the quote unquote necklace. And that's like her Baba's hands around her throat. Although I like that she calls it a necklace. And Mort tells her, quote, you understand that you may have just landed yourself in a heap of trouble. A lot of foreshadowing. If you know, you know. But I want to point out that this reminds me of the scars, of the bite marks of the Wyrdmark, of how other characters often point out the scars that she always has. Like people really refer all of her scars and it just keeps adding up.
It does. And if you think about it, the scars represent a fork in the road and a path that she ended up taking. Like she ended up in Dovier and got these scars, which allowed her to learn the Ilwe language and meet Dorian and Chaol. And then she had the bite from the Wyrdmark because, destiny. And then these scars because of destiny. So much destiny.
Oh, this destiny scarring. Question. Can you point on your hand where you think the Wyrdmark scar is? She says hand, though.
Does she say hand? I thought it was her forearm.
I remember her always saying hand.
Okay, then.
I'm just saying, because in my mind, it was like here. And I was like, why is that the small, like the thumb, but the squishy part between the thumb and forefinger? And I'm like, is that the smallest little jaw ever?
I know. That's why I thought it was the forearm.
That makes more sense. But she's described it as like like scars on her hand before. And then so I'm like, is it like a little tiny bite?
I thought the hand scar was from when she slammed her hand in the door for Arobin.
That's a different hand scar.
Okay.
But she could have been talking about that one, and I just assumed it was
the Wyrdmark.
The Wyrdmark. I hope it was her arm because, again, what I always imagine was this little tiny bite right there. And I was like, Virak wasn't that threatening, was it? Why didn't you just kick it? While Celaena is down trying to save the fucking world, Chaol is snooping through her room. And it's such an invasion of privacy. And
Mhm.
he's just like, he wants to see her so badly that he has to be like, I would normally never do this. And I
Mhm.
better do this before she comes over because I
Mhm.
really don't want to see my ex-girlfriend who's so pretty and I miss her so much. Like, it's the most,
He wants to get caught.
who wants to get caught? Yeah.
So while he's snooping, he sees that Celaena has been writing word marks everywhere. Quote, he might have turned away had he not seen the strange symbols written on everything, symbols that reminded him of the mark he'd seen burn on her forehead at the duel. He'd somehow forgotten about it in the months that had gone by. Maybe because he wanted to fuck her. Maybe he was distracted because of his feeling. And it's only a problem now because you know what? She's a threat. She's a threat.
Yeah.
How could I have forgotten this?
It's just so stupid that everyone forgets that there are magical marks on her forehead.
I know.
I need to give SJM shit on that one.
Yeah.
No horniness could make up for that. I mean, and if it truly is like he's just so horny for her, then like that makes him a shitty guard. Or like, how is that not the talk of the town? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I
How's
like
that
if
not the first question you ask?
right? How is that not the first thing? Like the girl, like the women who would line up. I'm just imagining you and I just like random courtiers and then being like, hey, do you remember when her fucking forehead glowed with weird marks? Yeah, I'm a little concerned. Isn't magic gone? Why is that there? Is it some kind of chosen one shit? Maybe
Maybe.
we should be concerned. It's really stupid that everyone forgets it.
Yeah.
That's one of my pain points with this one. Anyway, Chaol finds that she has changed her will and that everything she has, all her money, her property, would go to him because him being with her could lose him everything. And it was her
Mhm.
way of taking care of him and being safe. Quote, and she had signed it all to him with only one request, that he considered giving some of it to Philippa. I'm not going to change it. That's Celaena walking in,
Mhm.
being like, hey, I have feelings about this. You know, I love making someone feel guilty. Big fan of it. Like, let's just drive it in. Let's try to, make someone feel like absolute shit. I also don't love that this woman is ready to give this man everything to him, all of her finances, all of her home, all of it in this patriarchal world. And I know that this would be hypothetically Chaol being the one to make the sacrifice for her. I didn't even see her note. That he would be the one to like sacrifice for her. But it does not sit right for me.
So I see this as an expression of devotion. And I understand, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can see Celaena being like, I am so in love with this person who is so noble, who sacrificed his own lordship because of his own loyalty, because he is so noble, that I want to make sure he's taken care of and make a similar sacrifice for his sake.
Yeah. No, but that's the problem is
Yeah.
that's the attitude she has, which without saying anything spoilery will mean sacrificing a lot more in the end. It's the start of her sacrificing things, of SJM setting things up for women of her female characters, of sacrificing shit, of things that they did not need to sacrifice.
Yep.
And it is an affirmation of her love. Like all of it is true. So like, yeah, like she did it to show him like, hey, I got a plan. We're going to take care. Like, I got
Yeah.
you, boo. Any couple would do that. Absolutely. Like, I hope no wife out there is like, hey, I have my stuff signed to my husband. Like, that's not
Mhm.
what this is. All right. Like, we know the path, if you've read it all, where the series ends up.
Yeah.
And Celaena is time and time again used and not appreciated of what she's willing to sacrifice, and people expect that from her.
Yep.
And this is just like a buildup, like the start of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Absolutely.
So I'm more like future bitter than present bitter.
Got it.
Now that Chaol knows that Celaena is ready to give him her money, then she's forgiven. Now he's like, oh my God, quote, she had no plans to reclaim her lost title and posted no threat to Aderlin or Dorian. He'd been wrong yet again. He was wrong. Get out of my chambers. It's just, she has to be willing to give everything up for him, for a man, in order for her to not be a threat to the patriarchy.
Yeah, it's a problem because, she's essentially, he's like, wow, she always wanted to be powerless. And it's so, you know what? She chose powerlessness over being a traitor.
What
it's
a
great.
hero. Look at this woman being powerless. Oh, she just made my life easier by not having to think complicated thoughts and wonder what happened if she reclaimed her power. Yeah. Oh my God, thank you for making my life so much easier now. You were good this whole time.
The irony of us like defending Chaol half the season and now we're just hitting on him.
Look, I like to imagine it always would happen. However, I do think that the listener's email, I do know for a fact Emily's email changed everything. And that just shows that you too, listener, can change everything. Just come out with a lovely dissertation. It was such a well thought out email.
It was. Hang tight. We'll be back faster than a smoldering stare across a battlefield. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals, start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card, giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV.
I'll give you one guess into what's my Stanley right now.
Probably something with electrolytes, like Liquid IV.
It's not even funny how true that is. Liquid IV is scientifically formulated to help replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise, which is perfect because I am both sweating and exercising this summer.
It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick. And guess what? They've got Orange Vanilla Dream Hydration right now. It is so nostalgic. Makes me think of summer instantly.
The fact that it has 100% daily value of 4 essential B vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, it's an excellent source of vitamin C, and it makes me just feel like I've really accomplished a lot just by drinking one of these.
Powered by Liquid IV Hydroscience, Liquid IV replaces necessary nutrients lost from everyday dehydration, and it doesn't matter if you live somewhere dry or humid, trust me, you're dehydrated.
Just 1 stick in 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone.
It is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And if you're like me and are sensitive to everything, it is fantastic.
Savor the last bits of summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BookTalk at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order and code BookTalk, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
I do think that, the will is also very symbolic of Celaena's complacency and just how complacent she was willing to be, because everything she owns could be, and in some ways becomes, resources, right, against the King of Adarlan, against the power that they are going to be fighting. And what it achieves here, though, is showing Chaol how trigger happy he is.
Yeah.
How quick he is to jump to conclusions when she so thoughtfully took care of him and didn't tell him about it because it wasn't necessary to tell him about it, because he might have been like, no, you don't need to do that. I don't want you to do that, etc. Now, Chaol reflects on having not cried about anything up until this point. He didn't cry about Nehemia. He didn't cry when Celaena was in the dungeon. Quote, but when Chaol walked out, leaving that damning will behind him, he didn't even make it to his own room. He barely made it into an empty broom closet before the sobs hit. Now, I love this moment because I love that he realizes everything is his fault.
Yeah.
And that his loyalty didn't, for a long time, I felt like his loyalty was because it was a sunk fallacy, right? A sunk cost fallacy. He believed he had given everything up, so he had nothing but to be loyal.
Yeah.
Which is what Celaena has proven otherwise. You didn't have to be loyal to him because I was going to take care of you.
Yeah.
And it's poetic that he cries in a broom closet.
Your little sex closet.
Their little sex closet. And in some ways, he's mourning their relationship in a place that was quote unquote sacred.
Little sex closet. Do you know what a crank is?
No. Do I?
A cry wank.
Oh,
to lubricate yourself.
I've never heard that before.
He's going to go in there and have a nice little crank.
Sad.
He deserves it. We are in chapter 43, and Celaena is grieving when Chaol leaves, but she chooses to not think about Chaol. And instead, she was like, nah, I'm going to think about the other one I lost. Nehemia. She specifically was like, I have a lot of feelings about him. I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about the other one. Because what makes it harder is that with someone who's dead, there's nothing you could do about it.
Mm-mm.
And if she were to think about Chaol a little bit more, I think it might be like she might be willing trying to work it out with him because he's alive and she doesn't want to lose any more people. So let's not think about it and instead go to the piano. Quote, so Celaena just hovered at the pianoforte, tracing her fingers over the keys again and again and letting the silence devour her. Remember back in book 1 where she was playing the piano about Sam before she was caught, I think by Dorian?
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel bad because the piano really is representing death for her. And it's just quiet and deadly and sad.
Yeah, it holds a lot of emotion for her. Music holds a lot for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to think it's because she learned when she was a princess. And she's only lost a bunch of shit since then.
I agree. Celaena, at this point, has learned how to unlock doors with Wyrdmarks. And she's like, ooh, this is a great skill. I'm going to go to the library and unlock some shit. So she goes to the library and she goes down to like where she was with all the Fae tapestry. She goes to that one door that had the like the eyes underneath it. And she goes, you seem like a door I should unlock.
We're going to find you, little beastie.
Yeah, that's not the beastie you want. Yeah. And so she's like, yes, let's go inside. So she goes into this door. She opens up the door. There's more doors. She goes down the hallway, opens up that door. There's more doors. And this happens for a while. Quote, beyond them was a final unmarked door. She set her torch in a basket beside the last door and grabbed the ring on the door to pull it open. This one was significantly lighter than the first, but also locked. And unlike the doors lining the hall, this one seemed to ask her to unlock it, as though it needed to be open. Are you saying that this numberless door, this unmarked door, this nameless door is calling for you?
I was blown away when I read your note. I was like, oh.
Thank you.
Is it nameless?
Yeah. That's all we're going to say. Because I know that teases out too much.
Yes. So moving on. We are supposed to feel pretty ominous, like there's an ominous presence around Celaena right now. And I think SJM achieves that through the personification of the environment. There's a stale, cold breeze that ruffled her hair, kind of like an annoying older sibling. It is as if the air held its breath. And then, like Jack read, the door is asking her to unlock it. Now, it makes it feel like Celaena isn't alone. And it's just uncomfortable because she's uncovering things she probably shouldn't be uncovering. Now, of course, we also, I have to call it out, get a lot of references to a headache starting for Celaena, and it's starting to intensify, which, like the smell of rotting things, should be a clear sign or a warning bell that good things are not going to happen.
Yep.
As Celaena is making her way through the doors, there's a little bit of a leap at one point, and I feel like SJM wanted us to know this detail and had no other way for us to know this detail. Quote, perhaps Gavin had used these iron-gated cells to imprison the demon soldiers of Erewhon's army, or the wicked things Gavin and his warband hunted down. Okay, Celaena. What?
It was such a simple thing that she could fix, too, is say that there were carvings on the walls that depicted that.
Yeah.
Look, solved it, SJM. I agree, though. I agree. As Celaena goes down farther and farther, she goes through more doors. But then she finally stops calling them doors. Quote, she approached the 6th door and halted. A different sort of chill went through her as she stared at the 6th portal. We just went from door to portal. And she does it again a few pages later. Quote, beyond the portal lay a spiral staircase that led upward, so high that she couldn't see the top. A straight ascent into darkness, but to where? She's calling it a portal again. And it's very subconscious on her part. You know, you can say maybe this is her understanding Wyrdmarks on a level, like she's realizing she's getting something like closer to Wyrdmark realm territory. But it's just real interesting here.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. It is very, very curious because she only calls 6, 7, and 8 portals. And when she got to 7, I was like, oh, Maasverse? There's a Maasverse connection there. And then there was an 8th. And I'm like, well, now I don't know.
You can also say that now there's a removal of thresholds since it's not a door. So normally thresholds represents change, right? Like you can kind of hover between a threshold, and it's almost a removal of that side of destiny. Like now she's being fully thrusted into this. There's no potential. You're going through a fucking portal now.
Yeah.
Although I will be calling my bedroom door a portal now.
Okay. And then just to end the episode, Celaena being Celaena, quote, she swung Damaris in her hand a few times, only to loosen her wrist, of course. Rolling her neck, she entered the gloom. Like, own up to it.
Yeah.
You're nervous. You think you're
Yeah.
going to have to fight.
Let's get into breadcrumbs and broomsticks.
In chapter 39, we see Roland being possessed by his ring. Quote, Roland's tired. Thankfully, he's been suffering from awful headaches lately and has backed off. It's because of that pesky stone influencing thing.
That stone Valg. That
Val,
stone.
yeah.
We all know that stone. In chapter 40, when Celaena talks to Baba Yellowlegs, the witch asks about Celaena, quote, you do indeed stink of questions and the Staghorn Mountains. From Terrason, are you? What's your name? Celaena stuck her hand deep in her pockets. Lillian Gordana. The witch spat on the ground. What's your real name, Lillian? First-time readers might be thinking that she's looking for Celaena. Real-time readers will say Aelin.
Mm-hmm. When Celaena asks Baba Yellowlegs how much a reading will be, Baba Yellowlegs says, quote, nameless is my price, Yellowlegs said, but gold will do for now. It's important to the series.
Is my price. It's a stupid riddle.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. It sounds really cool, right? Nameless is my price.
Yeah.
But the fact that the price is just someone and she's nameless,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like such a cool saying, and then it's like nameless is my price. Oh no, what does that mean? You, Celaena, you are nameless. What? My name is. I have so many names.
Yeah.
I'm Aelin. I'm Celaena. I am no. There was a mark on your forehead that said nameless. So, nameless is my price. I wonder if she came up with the saying before knowing what.
Oh, yeah.
It has
Well,
to.
I don't know, because the significance of the mark is talked a lot about in Heir of Fire.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Still in chapter 40, Baba Yellowlegs talking about the Valg, quote, they could conquer new worlds or let in all sorts of life to bend to their cause. Maasverse Asteri shit.
Yeah.
What that is.
In chapter 41, Mort says to Celaena, quote, the Krakens and those who followed them have been in hiding for generations, but the clans in the Iron Teeth Alliance still travel about, as Baba did, though many more of them lived in the ruined and dark places of the world, content in their wickedness. But I suspect that when the Yellowlegs learn of their matron's death, they will muster the Blackbeats and the Blue Bloods and demand answers from the king, and you will be fortunate if they do not come on their brooms and drag you into it. It's just a lot of Heir of Fire setup.
Does Manon come in at Heir of Fire?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I would dabble in a potential Manon tattoo. Chapter 43, Celaena thinking about Nehemia's death and how it's different from others in her life who have died. Quote, when Sam had died, she had tucked him into her heart, tucked him in alongside her other beloved dead, whose names she kept so secret she sometimes forgot them. So secret because they are her royal family.
Yep. And we're not supposed to know.
No. We asked on Instagram to our listeners, tell us your favorite, most obscure / random / fun fact about Throne of Glass series or SJM universe lore. I'm talking about more than Celaena's real identity. I want the good stuff. Now,
Is there
we'll
good
see
stuff?
Someone sent screenshots of SJM's handwritten notes from Heir of Fire.
Oh,
Oh, no,
really?
from Kingdom of Ash.
Oh.
Yeah. Like in here, it's Manon versus 3 Iron Teeth matrons battle for the very soul of her people. Yellowlegs matron has Rhiannon's crown. So just like more things of I'm looking to see if she wrote the number 8. SJM just posted this week of ACOTAR 6. I'm on the 6 through 8 camp until I'm told otherwise. All right, what are you seeing?
SJM wanted a more detailed love scene between Celaena and Chaol, but her editor wouldn't allow it, probably because it's classified as YA.
I saw that and I was like, ooh, you know what? Fuck her editor. Because that's also another editor that SJM said that she wanted to do a threesome scene with Nesta
Cassian. Yeah.
and Cassian and Azriel, and we didn't get that. That person's a bad human.
Yeah. Yeah.
That means SJM has it in her head.
Someone wrote, Elena is the villain. I said what I said.
That's hilarious. Yeah, people, I'm like, I wanted the obscure facts. Some people think these are more theories than obscure facts. Okay, Lorcan becoming Lord Loken is just so funny to me.
Yeah.
Oh, the traitor in Silent Assassins is Lysandra's dad, I think.
Yeah. 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 Which is true. She does bring back some connections that are pretty good. I didn't realize how many Red Desert breadcrumbs we were going to get in this, which is one of the stories in Assassin's Blade. There's actually a lot of clues that go back to us, particularly that story of Assassin's Blade. Every time Celaena's fighting is compared to a snake is very specific to the moment she mastered the Silent Assassins training.
Okay.
It really sticks with me because it was really a like full body chills moment. Like,
okay.
Oh, I see what you did, SJM.
I refreshed myself on Assassins during Heir of Fire.
I don't think you should do Assassin's Blade until after Heir of Fire.
No, I mean in my refresher, like read Heir of Fire and then.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So before we record Heir of Fire, make sure I'm.
Should you? No, I don't think you need to.
All right, I'm like good because I have a lot of things. I got a lot of things I have.
Yeah, you don't need to do Assassin's Blade before Heir of Fire.
Okay. Aelin would have been appalled that Rhys allowed the treatment of Illyrian women to persist. So, I mean, like, when Aelin falls through the world, she passes through Akatar to see Rhys and Feyre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot more people set a lot more theories. Okay, here's one. Aelin's ruby ring ends up with Lydia in Crescent City. Yep. For whatever reason, I'm borderline convinced that it's a second ruby ring.
Here's another theory. Holland being the king of Hybern.
Oh, yeah. I like that theory. There's like a bunch of people who think that Caltaine is the cereal.
Fleetfoot literally disappears for almost 4 whole books and then comes back at the end. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we just, she doesn't need a dog.
No, not at all.
SJM tells us on page 31 of Throne of Glass that Celaena is Fae and has magic. Love it. She says something. I mean, I think we covered. There was a lot of clues in Throne of Glass, early Throne of Glass, like the first chapters of just Fae. If you don't remember, go listen to our episodes there. All right, I got a question for you.
Yes, I forgot you were asking it.
Has Celaena ever had the choice when it comes to destiny and the path it wants her to take?
So this is the funny thing about destiny, fate, God, that I sometimes have a hard time wrapping my head around, especially in the religion I grew up in. They always talk about this thing called predestination. Like, you have free agency, but if you make the right choices, you're going to fulfill this aspect of like what you're destined to do. And I'm like, how can there be destiny and agency at the same time?
Yeah.
And, I think agency just delays destiny sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Celaena. She's made choices to avoid her past. She's made choices to put off ultimately what is inevitable. The fact that the only way she could have avoided that path is if Dorian had taken it first.
Yeah.
But even then, Dorian ends up being integral to the end of the story. And so I don't think if Dorian had chosen to take the path first, Aelin would have been like unnecessary. I think that she would have still had a role to play.
Yeah.
In stories like this, it reaffirms to me the idea that it doesn't matter what you do, all paths converge to a single point at some point or another. And maybe they split off again, but to me, it's like a DNA structure. Actually, the helix doesn't touch, but I do think if you think of life as a straight line, I think that sometimes there are different paths and then they all come back together to touch and then more paths. And then I think they're just like key beats. What is it called? There's a movie. What am I thinking of?
I have no
Or
idea.
maybe it was Loki, the show. Like a core moment that's always going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to drive me crazy what I'm referring to. Oh, no, it's Spider-Man. That's what it is. Anyway, you want to say something? Please go.
Yeah, I like what you said, that destiny is the lack of agency. I think the concept of destiny is very appealing to many people.
Mm-hmm.
On some degrees, I also think destiny can be real in our own world too. I you talk about you can do a bunch of things, but we kind of hit the beats, and those are the ones that we were always going to come to. I love that quite a bit. What's hard about Celaena's destiny is that, and we're in spoiler territory, is that it was always meant for her to be stripped of everything. And I don't like her destiny. I don't like what it ultimately ends up, and that's her giving up her power. I understand that there was a moment of Elena deciding who's it going to be. Is it going to be Celaena? Is it going to be Dorian? My note to that is, and I know I will preface this, we hate J.K. Rowling. We do not stand with her. I do not support her. Don't buy her shit. Now I'm going to go into the unfortunate facts, which is that she did a good job with Harry Potter. And I think about Neville and Harry and how both of them could very easily have been the child that was summoned, but it was Voldemort who made that choice of what it would end up being. My thing with that, though, is I feel like that was better executed because like these two babies were equal,
Yeah.
Celaena and Dorian were never equal.
Yeah.
It was never a choice. And that's what it kind of comes down to. It's not like Elena had true, like, what are my options? These two are so I can totally be either interchangeable. It was never going to be Dorian. It was always going to be Celaena.
Yeah.
And I think, and I just don't like that it comes down to, and I'm not going to remember not Aerith Fire, Kingdom of Ash much, so you're very well. So you're going to have to fill in the blanks for me. But I just remember there was like a vote of everyone going around. Does shit happen? Do we do everything pop off now? And everyone goes around, and it's essentially Celaena going in and starting the battle. It was like a final battle situation, and everyone voted for it to happen now, except for Rowan. And then they asked Celaena, "What's your vote?" And she says, "It doesn't matter." And that's what her destiny is that none of it in her own choice, her own anything has ever mattered. And so when I think of this book, and if I were to get caught on Celaena, and I like Aelin, I like her journey, I like the resilience she shows, I really don't like how the concept of destiny was handled in this, and I don't like where Aelin ends up. And it all comes down to, all of this was decided because some dead chick said it's going to be Celaena, but it was always going to be Celaena, right? Because that was always going to be her destiny, which is a lack of agency, and this poor girl has lack of agency for the rest of the book series.
I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed Throne of Glass the first time I read it, like the whole series. But I'm completely on board with you the more that I realize how much everything hinges on Elena choosing to break Celaena.
Yeah.
And it was Elena telling Nehemia, and ultimately the two of them together robbing Celaena of choice. And when you think about what Aelin has to go through over the course of many, many books, yes, she's amazing for her resiliency, for her resourcefulness. I love some of the relationships she builds along the way.
Yeah.
But she is for a powerful person, she is very powerless.
Yeah.
It bothers me that it's a woman doing this to another woman.
Yeah.
Written by a woman. Like,
it, and that matters. Like, that's the thing, is that it does matter, because who are the ones that get to let Dorian, like,
he gets to keep his magic.
He gets to keep his magic. And people might be like, well, he went through shit too. Yeah, but no one goes through shit like Celaena goes through shit, right? Dorian gets to keep his magic. Celaena was willing to give up all of her money to Chaol. Like, everything was willing to support men.
Yeah.
But all of this comes down to because a woman decided to use another woman's death to break another woman, for that woman to ultimately sacrifice everything. And that, as a writer, did not have to happen.
Yes.
The final part. The final part.
The final part. Yes. Some of this early stuff we have to remember is she was young, right? And she rewrote it, but as a writer, it's hard to stray from what you originally wrote, right? Your original intentions. So we have to give her grace in moments like right now. Like, she was probably 16 or 17 the first time she thought of Elena making this choice and the consequences as we know them for Celaena. And that is an uninformed decision.
By the time we get Kingdom of Ash, she's already written ACOTAR, I think Mist and Fury even, and there's a developed woman who's there now. And we can look at this, give her grace, and say, ooh, that was not a good move, SJM. Like, ooh, would not have done that. Like, we could say that, but like, by the time we're at the very end, that's what it does, is give me a bitter taste of what destiny means in this book.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think that in some ways, I think she tried to rectify that with Bryce in Crescent City.
Yeah.
I think she will also try to rectify it with Nesta.
Yeah. She tried to, but like, because she didn't let Nesta give up all of her powers, there was a hint of her powers, but I think she heard the complaints of being like, what the fuck? Why do we have another woman who's willing to sacrifice all of her magic for, like, granted, for a baby and, her sister, but like, Reese's mistakes too. You know what I mean? Like, there's.
Whether it's ACOTAR 6 or ACOTAR 6 through 8 that SJM has finished writing. I guess we'll see. And all we can ask from her as a writer is that she learns from everything that she writes and that she does a better job.
I don't think that my frustration with how this whole thing ends, the whole thing being thrown a glass, at all dampens the way I like Aelin. Because Homegirl had to survive the author, she had to do all of that. She is resilient as fuck. She grows. She does all sort, she had to survive SJM. So it doesn't take it away. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like this aspect that does, unfortunately, and have a huge ripple effect.
On the flip side, because there's always different interpretations, right? You could choose to look at this as allegory for what women go through in the real world. Society has taught us to put each other down. Society has taught us to persevere. Society has taught us to sacrifice for the sake of the man.
Women sacrifice more. Yeah.
I think there's a lot that does reflect real life. And I think that is unintentional on SJM's part. I think that is the inherent misogyny that we all learn. Yeah. And that is reflected in this book.
I've had conversations with other friends about this when it's like, why have a world, and we've talked about this too, right? Why have a world that has violence against women? You're a fantasy author, you can create anything. And for one part, I'm like, I get what you're saying. However, I do want to see a world where things are reflected of reality. Like, if I'm scared of walking at night and on the street, like, I kind of want to, I do want to see a little bit of reflection there. So like, I agree with what you're saying, that there is some of that. We'll just have to catch it as we go, right? Like, how much of this was totally on point, and this whole entire book series is a larger metaphor of women having to sacrifice themselves for the sake of men at a much larger cost than men do. That could totally be it. And, hopefully that's what our takeaway is. But yeah, I think leaving room for it. Leaving room.
Yeah.
Until then, Destiny's a bitch in this
Yeah.
part. But in real life, it's great. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. Next week, we'll be exploring chapters 44 through 48 of Crown of Midnight.
We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform. We would also love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. You can submit your comments to our form at booktalkforbooktalk.com for a chance to have your feedback discussed during a future mini episode or on a Patreon exclusive episode.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please visit our website, booktalkforbooktalk.com, to view our latest merch and learn about supporting the show through Patreon or Venmo. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at the handle Book Talk for Book Talk.
Bye. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals, start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card, giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV.
I'll give you one guess into what's my Stanley right now.
Probably something with electrolytes, like Liquid IV.
It's not even funny how true that is. Liquid IV is scientifically formulated to help replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise, which is perfect because I am both sweating and exercising this summer.
It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick. And guess what? They've got Orange Vanilla Dream Hydration right now. It is so nostalgic. Makes me think of summer instantly.
The fact that it has 100% daily value of 4 essential B vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, it's an excellent source of vitamin C, and it makes me just feel like I've really accomplished a lot just by drinking one of these.
Powered by Liquid IV Hydroscience, Liquid IV replaces necessary nutrients lost from everyday dehydration, and it doesn't matter if you live somewhere dry or humid, trust me, you're dehydrated.
Just 1 stick in 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone.
It is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And if you're like me and are sensitive to everything, it is fantastic.
Savor the last bits of summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order and code BOOKTALK, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com.